For more debates, updates, and bonus content, sign up at thebigconversation.show.
What I would really like to see, and I actually gave a sermon on this at the National Cathedral, which is an Episcopal cathedral here in the United States, in March during Lent, because they put me in the pulpit virtually. I would like to see changes in lectionary readings. I think there are too many pairings of Old Testament readings with New Testament readings that have exactly that supersessionist approach, and there's no reason for that. The Anglican Church last year came out with a text called God's Unfailing Word, and it's about the relationship between Christianity and Judaism. It's very long. It's very British, which just goes on and on and on. But you can find some really good gems in there. And I think it would be great if that could serve, or at least a shortened version could serve as a study base for Jews and Christians to start talking to each other. I want all Anglican clergy to learn about Second Temple Judaism so that they do not have to make Judaism look bad in order to make Jesus look good. And to do that, you don't learn from rabbis, because most rabbis know nothing about Second Temple Judaism, because there's no Second Temple Jewish text that has relevance to contemporary Judaism, like the Dead Sea Scrolls, for example. So you need an academic who knows what's being preached on Sunday morning to come in and do that. And I want Jews and Christians to be able to attend each other's worship as guests without being pressured, and knowing what they can and cannot do, or should and should not do, but so that we can better know each other. And one way better to know each other is to know how we worship and what we say. I find as a Jew going to Christian worship, whether it's an Episcopal church or a Lutheran church or a Methodist church, Catholic church, whatever it is, I find that it rings true in so many ways to my own tradition, and I can appreciate it as a guest. But so often what happens is somebody will make a gratuitous anti-Jewish comment, and it ruins the entire service for me.
Correct.
So I want to be safe in Christian worship because I like it, and I learn from it, and I'm often inspired by it, and I don't want to be disrespected at the same time. And I want the same thing to happen in synagogues, because I have heard a number of rabbis gratuitously make anti-Christian comments when they don't have to do it, because rabbis know even less about Christianity, particularly the Orthodox rabbis, than Christian ministers know about Judaism.
What's your thoughts on all of those suggestions, Giles?
I did some teaching about Christianity the other day about Bar Ilan University, and I was very surprised about how little that they knew about Christianity. I mean, really, how little they knew about Christianity. AJ is. I'm sorry, this is boring. If you want us to disagree with each other, you're not going to find that, Justin. Because AJ is absolutely right. I mean, she's just a font of wisdom about all of this and everything. I just second everything. Listen, so my wife is Israeli. My wife is Jewish, but she's the vicar's wife. So she comes. She doesn't come to church, but occasionally she does. She comes to support me. She usually makes the cake. She makes a damn good cake for after church. But occasionally she'll come to church. She came to church around Easter time, and I get there to read the gospel. I go to the centre of the church. I read the gospel, and I go, they were hiding in the upper room for fear of the Jews. Yeah. Okay, so I'm saying this, and my wife and my two Jewish boys are in there, and I'm thinking to myself, what on earth is going on here? What am I saying? Now, there are modern translations of the New Testament. Bentley Hart's one is an obvious one, where actually this is not, they're not described as Jews in this passage, they're described as Judeans. Now that's actually an interesting academic argument, which I'd be very interested to know what AJ thinks about. But nonetheless, there are a whole range of subjects. I spent my day today, Justin, listening to a a conference that happened a couple of years ago in the Vatican on the subject of the Pharisees, for instance, and what now, if you ask Christians do a sort of like a word association on the Pharisees, they'd give you hypocrites, they'd give you all this sort of stuff. Now this is extraordinary stuff that we have here. You know, that we have a particular sort of religious experience, and a group of religious people who are, I don't think it's too much to say, demonised in our in the way we understand things, and we really have to sort of like work out what's going on here. And is it safe to go if my wife or AJ comes to church and what do we do with those texts which talk about Jews as being hypocrites, which talks about the fear of the Jews, which indeed in Matthew's gospel, blood is upon you and upon your children and all of that sort of stuff. By the way, let's just have this nailed in this conversation. The Jews did not crucify Jesus. Okay, that's a Roman instrument of torture, and only Romans could put someone up upon it. Okay, this is what Romans did to keep people in their place. And there is something utterly disgraceful about the way in which this Roman instrument of torture and the death of Jesus has been linked to Jews for centuries. So we have a lot of work to do. And I'm going to say one more thing, Justin. I know you want to come in. One of the problems about the relationship between Christianity and Judaism is about the relationship of Christianity and empire and power. And what's happening in the last 50, 100 years is Christianity is getting stripped of its power. Christianity is getting stripped of empire. We're beginning to lose that association with secularization. And I think we have an opportunity for Christians and Jews to talk to each other that's only recently begun because of the way in which Christianity is being stripped of its power.